Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Happy Monday to you. It's been a hot minute, hasn't it? Been a hot minute. Missed 2 streams last week. Really should have missed 3. It was my first time taking time off since I started streaming. And I didn't really think about it ahead of time. I was like, yeah, I'm off work, but I can still stream. I can still get up at 6 a.m. and do this. And it turns out that's not a fun way to spend your time off. So we learned that lesson the hard way, but it's all good. We got it figured out now, and we're back to normal. So I'm excited for some nice, chill streams this week. Get back into the swing of things, get back into work. It's going to be good. So I'm excited to take your questions today. As per usual, let's have a good stream, folks. Welcome in. Fat Frog, my friend, welcome back. Good to see you. Hope you've had a good, I want to say weekend, but it's weekend and Friday and Wednesday. It's been so long since we've been here. Welcome back, my friend. I hope you're doing well. I'm good, man. I'm very good. Well rested. Excited to be back. I've got casual deadlines going forward for the rest of the year. So I'm refreshed. I'm ready to write. How about you? This email never works at gmail.com. Hello, my friend. Nix, welcome back. Good to see both of y'all. How you been? Did you have a good weekend, a good Friday, a good last Wednesday? It's been so long, guys. I'm glad to be back, though. Thank you for being here with me. Ramel Jones on YouTube. You asked what kind of books do I write. I write fantasy and lit RPG. They're right here, some of them. They're also linked in my bio if you want to look a bit closer, but there we go. There's a lot of them right there. Feel free to screenshot or just click on the bio and find the links to them there. I appreciate you asking. This email never works. I am ready to get the week started. It's going to be interesting. I've been on a crunch, like big book launches, tight deadlines since, October of last year, just about. So it kind of like became the normal work pace for me for a long time. And then I started streaming in the middle of all of that just to make it a little more busy. So I'm slowing down a little bit looking forward here, and I don't know what that looks like anymore. It's been so long. I forget what a casual working pace looks like. So I'm really excited to get back to that. How about you, my friend? How are you looking ahead? Good stuff coming up? Nothing too crazy, I hope? Or maybe you got a big project. I don't know. Let me know. Fat Frog, I wrote an entire book in that challenge. Somehow I messed my math up. I'm definitely a liberal arts major, y'all. I was supposed to do 12 days of writing, and I got to the end of it and finished the book and counted back, and I'm like, that's only 11 days. I don't know how I got that wrong, but I definitely did. But we ended up with 99,000 words on 11 days of work, so I'm pretty happy with that. Will not do it again. It was purely an experiment to see how much I could write. If I do a book, basically in 2 weeks. Yes, it was hell. Don't do it. Gold Tapwater, how do you go about getting your work illustrated? I hire cover artists. So all of these books, I've worked with cover artists to make this beautiful art. I could not have done it myself. So yeah, big shout out to them. This email never works. Yeah, 99k words out of 100k. It's a little unsatisfying, but that's the length the story needed to be. So there it goes, Alicia, how's the map going? It's going good. I'm excited to get back to it. It's we got good progress on it. I honestly I kind of been thinking about doing it more than 1 day a week just because I've enjoyed it so much. Um, but yeah, it's going good. I'm excited to get back to it. Shara, how do you stay motivated? Um, Motivation is like 1/3 inspiration and 2/3 consistency. I feel like you when you're inspired for a project, you get to work on it, and you work hard on it as long as that inspiration runs. But also set a routine to follow. Say I'm going to write 3 days every week and do that. Because that way, when the inspiration, when the excitement leaves, you have routine to fall back on to keep working with. Um, it's fine to work on books just when you're inspired, but if you're writing to sell, if you want to make a career out of it, you got to work on them all the time. Analog horror. You've been trying to get inspired to make analog horror gold tap water. That's pretty cool. I've seen a couple videos in that realm. They're very cool. They're very, very cool. Um, I hope you can get some inspiration for that. I have no idea how they're made. It's kind of part of the magic, though. Sometimes you don't want to see behind the curtain, right? Slindy, my friend, good morning. Welcome in. Good to see you. Hope you've been well. Let me know. Do anything cool over the weekend? Nick, she said, "How's your wrist?" By the way, yeah, wrists are good. We're doing good. No more braces. Um, Honestly, I did a lot of exploration with dictation in writing the most recent book. Um, and it worked pretty well. I don't. My natural writing flow is not as good when dictating, but it saved my wrist. So it was nice to be able to do a heavy writing day and then a heavy dictation day. It spared my wrist a lot of injury. Alicia, do you pay for the pro version of Incarnate? I've been thinking about it, but I'm not sure. I do have the pro version. I only got the pro version once I started doing maps on stream. Prior to that, I just used the free tier. They're both very good. I mean, pro's awesome. Luckily, it's not very expensive. You know, $5 a month or 25 for the year. That's a rocking deal. But I would recommend it. Rafi, good to see you, my friend. Said you had a garbage stream last night. I'm sorry to hear that. But welcome in, buddy. Mr. Fire, how does one elevate one's writing to the next level? Um, Practice. It's purely practice and reading a lot. Read a lot of books in genres you might not. Read in your favorite genres, but also here and there pick up books from other genres. It's just helpful to read widely. And then beyond that, practice. I highly recommend writing short stories instead of novels off the bat. Short stories are a great microcosm of novel writing, a great way to practice. Leisha, good morning. Blaze Gaming, good to see you. Blaze, you finally made a stream, dude. Congrats. How'd it go? I hope it went well for you. Peruna, do I play video games? I do, yeah. I've actually been playing a lot of Roadcraft lately. I realize folks have been asking me what games I play, and I forget to mention that one, because I play it exclusively with friends, so I kind of like... I almost don't think of it in the way I think of other games. Like, it's not I'm going to kick back and, game for an hour or two. It's a set standing appointment with my friends each week, but highly recommend that game if you just want to play big boy Tonka trucks, as we call it, unironically. Leisha, you recommended Wriggly Little Hands at your family reunion? Thank you, Leisha. That's too kind of you. I appreciate that. I hope if anybody picks it up, they enjoy it. The Assassin asked, "What do you think about audiobooks? I think they're pointless." They're not pointless. They're for a slightly different audience. Some folks prefer to read their books. Some prefer to have them read to them, or even acted out. If you're going to have voice actors doing, a little more of an acting role with the book. I think they're just different audiences. I find that a lot of big audiobook fans aren't necessarily big reading fans, and vice versa. But hey, for me, it just means I get to serve my stories to more audiences in the format they preferred. M. Writer, hello. Welcome in. Happy Monday to you. Blaze Gaming, maybe another pop-up gaming stream soon. Yeah, we could probably do that. We could do that. I'm trying to think what game to play. But yeah, maybe we do another one, another surprise one. Alicia, you asked, what was your path to becoming a full-time author? Good question. I love when people ask this one because it's an interesting one, but I think that I stumbled and bumbled my way to a decent path. Basically, I was at a full-time office job, and I was writing in the evenings. And what I did is I started doing freelance work on the weekends and in the evenings. Business writing. I would write website content, marketing content, stuff like that for any company that needed it. Didn't even matter what it was, as long as it was just basically just like business stuff or nonprofits, etc. Marketing copy. And I started doing that, and as I got more and more clients there, I was able to dial back my full-time work and dial up my freelance work until it was all freelance work. And then I made a few connections through that business writing who were into publishing. And I started doing a little bit of ghostwriting for publishers, for novellas. And I just got more and more practice. I started selectively picking clients that were specifically in the ghostwriting world until I could dial up ghostwriting and dial back my freelance writing. And I just eventually transitioned to being a full-time ghostwriter. And that allowed me to get connections with publishers and transition into being a full-time author. So I didn't have that planned out ahead of time, but I kind of stumbled into it, and it really worked out. So I'm pretty happy about it. Grayson, you said, hey man, it's me from a few days ago. I'm having trouble getting with characters in my D&D campaign. Tips. Sit down and interview your characters. Literally sit down with them one by one with a list of questions. Ask them the questions and then answer from what you think their perspective would be. And let the answer just continue organically. Like just keep writing down or recording if you want to do it spoken. What their answers would be. I think that's a great way to get to know them. Especially ask things that are out of context for the world. What's your favorite holiday? When's your birthday? Do you prefer cake or ice cream on your birthday? Stuff like that. Like, it just gets you thinking about the character in new ways. Sorry, you had a follow-up comment. You said, sorry, I meant getting my players interested. Well, I mean, if they want to be there, they should be relatively interested. I think other than that, it's more of just having story hooks, I guess. Ask them what they're looking for in a campaign, what sort of experiences are they looking for, and provide hooks. Story hooks so that they can act on those experiences and can, give them clear story hooks that tell them, hey, if you do this, you're going to go down this route, which is a route that you mentioned you were interested in. Unvictus on YouTube, hello, my friend, good to see you. And E.T. Mexicano, what's the weirdest thing an editor asked you to take out? Okay, I don't know if it's weird, but I think it's really funny. In one of my lit RPGs, I had a character that was a streamer, and so one of the things she did throughout the book was read stream donations, and it was set in the modern day, so I had people making her read like meme texts that when they would donate, and one of them is like technically copyrighted. It was the Anakin I hate sand meme, and so I had the legal department at Audible had to research if they could legally publish the text of a meme, because it was technically like verbatim from the script of Star Wars. So that was a fun one. We actually ended up keeping it in. We determined that it was legally allowed to be there. But I would say that was a fun one that we almost had to take out. Also, I'm really happy to know that I made lawyers waste their time finding out if this was okay to do. No, with a trophy. You said, what's the new book about? So the newest book is this one right here, Wriggly Little Hands. It's linked in my bio. It's on Amazon, an Audible, ebook, paperback, audiobook. It's about goblins on a road trip to save the Dark Lord. It's kind of like a comedy fantasy road trip with a bunch of bumbling goblins who don't pin your hopes on them. They get distracted. They set things on fire just for fun. Someone gives them a rocket wagon, as you can see on the cover. Terrible decision making. It's a very goofy, fun book. Please do check it out. I hope you enjoy it. One of my many books that I've written, and I just finished several, 2 novellas and another novel. So we'll be adding to this list soon. Sparrow EXE over on YT, you said, "Hey, as an author, I believe you could have a sense for scripting." Um, I suppose so. Is there a specific question you had about that? Feel free to ask. Harpy, welcome in. Good to see you here. How you doing? Hope you had a good weekend. Tide and Tara, good to see you as well. Welcome in. You said you just started your querying research. Any advice in what to look out for? Yeah, great question, Tide and Tara. All right, so this one is a tough one to swallow. Make sure that the agent is someone who legitimately you would want to work with. Like, it's easy to feel like I'm an author and I'm just trying to get any agent to represent me. The reality is it is a two-way street. It has to be a business partnership. So make sure the ones that you're querying are actively selling titles in your genre. As best you can tell, have good reputation in the industry, and then are someone that you genuinely believe that you would get along with and want to work with, because you are testing them out as much as they are testing you out. I know it feels hard when you're querying because you're just like, I just want any agent, right? But it really does matter who you end up agented by. Good question, and good luck. Child Eater, you said, how old were you when you started? I started as a professional full-time author in 2018, so 7 years ago, so I was 25. But I had been writing since middle school prior to that. And I started freelancing, which began the transition into being a full-time author when I was... That would have been 2015. So I guess I was like 22 when I started. Grayson, you're very welcome for the advice. I'm glad that it helps. That is my goal here. Thank you for the good questions. Jack Ann, welcome in. Good to see you. Hope the editing's been going well. I just sent a manuscript off to one of my editors, and I feel very bad for them because I know that it is not the cleanest copy I've written. I did my best with it, but very much a little sticky note on that one that was just like, sorry. So, Lindy, you said you already finished that second Terry Pratchett book. You think you're hooked. Dude, rock on. Hey, Pratchett's good. There's a reason his book sold so well. That man could write. Told a darn good story, full of empathy and humor and adventure. Love Pratchett's work. I'm glad you're enjoying them so much, man. Rock on. Titan Terror, you said you've been researching agents via their website bios. You're shocked how many show available in your genre, but they're interested in their bios are completely off. Or their interests in their bios. Yeah. That's important. You want them to have similar interests. Another thing, Titan Terra, if I haven't mentioned it to you, get a 1-month subscription to publishersmarketplace.com and use that to research which agents are actively having sales in your genre. Compile a list from that, and then you can cancel the membership. Don't let it go for more than a month. You just need it for that research gathering. It's a great way to find who's not only in your genre as an agent, but also actively selling manuscripts to publishers in your genre. T.S. Hollowgrave, good to see you. Welcome in. Happy Monday. I'm doing good. I'm coming off a week of rest. I took last week off. First time I've had time off in 2025. It's lovely. I'm recharged, ready to get back to it. Going to be easing back into everything. I got 3 more books on my plate to write. And we'll finish that by the end of Q1 2026, I think. It's going to be good. I'm excited just to settle into some nice writing. I'm really excited about the books. It's going to be good. How about you? How you doing? Good to see you again. Jack Ann, you said clean copies are no fun. We editors like them raw and wriggling. I hear Gollum every time I read that. Dia Zen, you said, hi, Alex. I'm thinking of starting a book, but I don't know where to start. Well, the beginning. But I will. That's obviously the advice. But start at the point that's most interesting to you, and consider the best advice for where to start a book is the latest you can in the story with it still making sense. So, like, you want to drop the readers into the action, into the story, where things are already happening, so they're just swept along with it. So basically, as late as possible, as long as it still makes sense. But don't feel the pressure that where you start in your journey now is where the book is going to start, eventually. Like, things can be changed in editing and rewrites, etc. So the most important part is not starting at the right place in your first draft. It's just starting. So just pick a place and start. You might write 2 chapters and then go, oh, actually chapter 3 should be chapter 1. That's totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. Peruna, how much do I make? I say right now I make a low office salary type job. If we want to talk raw numbers, I try to be honest with y'all. It's between $30,000 and about $45,000 a year. Like I say, it's not very much. I can make a lot more in many other jobs. But I love this job, and there's always a chance that that's going to go up. I'm continually working on ways to sell new books, and I'm currently, once I finish these next 3 books, I have a 2-year business plan that we're going to put in place. We got a strategy we've highlighted that we think is going to do well to grow my income and everything. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. It's going to be good. Slendy, you said you found a reading order guide for Discworld and got your mom interested. Hey, spread the good word. Spread the good word of Discworld. I'm interested in that reading order guide too. I've never seen a reading order guide for it, though I assume obviously they exist. Sparrow EXD over on YT, you said, hey, I'd like to make a summary video of the playthroughs for my channel after I finish a game, but don't know what a good scripting method would be towards that. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I'm not sure. I would focus on the things that you think feel most important and most interesting to the audience, and just go from there. Like, honestly, half of figuring out what works is just trying and seeing what resonates with the audience, and then using that information to improve, your efforts. So just take a stab at what's most interesting to you, what you think is most valuable to your audience, and then see how they react to it, and try again. That'd be my advice, at least. Gab on YT as well, you said, what makes a twist villain bad? I keep seeing people hate on Disney twist villains, but child me used to like them. I think the only thing that makes a twist villain bad is if the twist doesn't have any foreshadowing whatsoever. You should give the audience a chance to suss out ahead of time what's coming. I think that's important. Through foreshadowing, through making a scene or two where the character just feels a little bit off that might hint at their true villainous intent, that sort of thing. But honestly, it's all subjective in the end. It's about what people like, and some people like twists like that, some don't. And you can't please everybody all the time. So just do what's creatively interesting to you. That's about all you can do, really. Dia Zen, you said, I've been having this idea for a few months now, but I don't know if I should be following a process. Yeah, you're talking about like a plot, essentially, like how to lay the book out ahead of time. Look up, I guess Save the Cat is a good one for plot structure. Honestly, what I'd really recommend, I'll put it in chat here. Plotter. Put it on both chats. There we go. And you're welcome, Sparrow. I hope that helps. Sorry, I typed it wrong in the second chat. I recommend this app, Plotter, Plottr. I think it's a one-time fee. I think I bought it for like $10 back in the day. It's just an app that specializes in plotting, and what I really like about it is it has like digital index cards, so you can like rearrange your plot points and stuff as you go. But it comes built in with standard plot structures, so you can like say, I want to plot a new book, and I want to base it on, and it has a drop-down list of well-known plot structures, and you can click that, and it'll create an example structure, and then you just create your own following along with that. I think it's a really unique tool. Pretty simple, pretty easy to use. I quite recommend it. Jack Ann, Aaron's trip was really good. For those that don't know, my wife was on an ocean expedition at sea for 3 weeks in the Central Pacific, doing seafloor mapping of under-mapped U.S. territories and general international waters out there. So it was pretty cool. She had a great time. Saw a lot of birds. They were doing a lot of bird watching, actually, from the upper deck. They had some biologists on board studying bird migration. And she did a lot of science communication and seafloor mapping. Had a great time. Heck of an adventure. I wish I could have joined her on it. But no, she did good. Thank you for asking. T.S. Hollowgrave, you said I'm doing good. I just got back to ebook cover and paperback wrap for something I'm working on. Hey, that's exciting. Congratulations. I hope you like it. Always a good day when you get book art, right? See what the artist has been working away on. Rock on, man. I hope it's good. Dia, you're very welcome. Thank you for the good question. Peruna, I am not British. No visible username asked, do you recommend getting Incarnate Premium when using it? Use the free version until you feel like you need more tools, and then try the pro version is what I would go with. They're both really good. Slindy, you said, was that on, I can't say that website name, because starting with a good hook of something you didn't, but then bringing it back around to why you came around. I'm not sure what you're saying, Slindy, but I was responding to a question on YT, yeah. I can't say the website name because TikTok will get mad at me. Yeah, Dia, check out Plotter. It's a super cool app. Small, one-time purchase. I find it quite useful. I'm going to be getting elbow deep in it here coming up because I have 3 books to plan. Then we're going to knock them out one after the other. It's going to be good. I'm excited. I'm really excited to go. I want to write these next 3 books so bad. Yeah, Slindy, I totally get you. The character limit can make explaining things difficult. Sparrow on YT, you said, nice. Was she able to find my long lost second sock somewhere down there below the sea? The ship she was on, the exploration vessel Nautilus, does ROV submersible dives. Just not on that expedition, but I think there's a good chance she'll be back in the future, and they'll be sending some robots down there, and they see a lot of cool stuff down there in the abyssal zone of the ocean. Dragon05, you relax in Fortnite? Hey man, whatever works for you, right? Welcome in, by the way. Matt Hicks, you asked, was this always your career, or was there a trust yourself moment? No, there was definitely a trust yourself moment, and there continues to be trust yourself moments. I explained it briefly earlier, but really what I did is I worked a full-time office job, and then I started freelancing on the side for general business / marketing writing. And as that picked up, I did more of that and less of my full-time job. I moved my full-time to part-time. Freelancing income kept going up, so I quit my original office job all the way, and then I transitioned that into freelance writing and ghost writing for a couple romance novella publishers. And as that went up, I dialed down the freelance and up the ghost writing, and then eventually was able to pivot into being a full-time author. Multi-year process and all those pivots, but I mean, even today, even though I can do it full-time and I have a bunch of beautiful books that I'm very proud of, links in the bio, y'all, check them out. Supports me, supports the stream. Appreciate you. Even though I have a bunch of these books, there's still a constant trust myself moment of like, it's not a stable job. You never know how much you're going to sell. You don't know how good royalties are going to be. You're going to sign a big deal with a publisher and make your money for that year. So it's a constant process of trusting yourself, but I am I'm beginning in 2026 a 2-year business plan that I think will really take my 7 years of experience in this industry and turn it into something a little more stable, so I can make the money that I want to make reliably. Alex Christesu said, how do I know if I have too much or not enough environment descriptions? Well, it depends. Part of it is stylistic. Jane Austen, famously known for taking a whole page to describe the intricacies of a doorknob in a scene, whereas other authors might just not describe at all, mention they were in the setting and that's it. So it's really a slider. It's where you want to be. If you're worried about having too much, I would wait until an editor or a beta reader, etc., calls it out as being a problem. Otherwise, I would indulge it if it's something you like to do, because it could become part of your style. You could be known as the author who writes beautiful descriptions and really places your scenes in a well-described, well-imagined setting. Nothing wrong with that. It could be part of your voice. Dia, you said I'm going to go back to reading my book, but thanks so much for the answers. You're very welcome. Thank you for stopping by, Dia. It was a pleasure to have you. Enjoy the book. Jack Ann, the abyssal zone of the ocean is very cool but deeply unsettling. Yeah, agreed. Also, it's just fun to say. I use that descriptor way too much in my writing these days. Oh, very good point. Yeah, adding on to my last answer, Jack Ann, our resident author and editor, says description amounts can vary based on genre. That's true. Genre conventions will allow for different amount of description. Fantasy could be a description-heavy genre, whereas something like a Dan Brown-esque thriller might not. More of a page turner. It does quite does change based on genre and style. Lolo So Real, good morning to you. Welcome in. How you doing on this fine Monday? Hope you had a good weekend. Came out of it refreshed and recharged. Make it a good week, huh? I'm ready for it. The Dragon says, I look like FNAF, which I would read as Five Nights at Freddy's, so I'm not sure what that stands for, but feel free to elaborate. Wait. Keyshawn? It's Keyshawn, right? Good to see you again. I always struggle with your name, and I'm so sorry. But welcome back. Good to see you. Lolo says, I'm good. How about you? I'm doing good. I'm rocking and rolling, man. I'm ready to go. I had last week off. First time off this year. Really, since about last October, I've been on this advanced, heavy writing schedule. Big launches, a lot of work. But no, we're doing good. I'm refreshed, and I'm good to go. I'm very excited for the writing coming up this week. Also, exciting news, y'all. If, you can get signed copies of Wriggly Little Hands, my most recent book. There's a link in my bio. I sell signed copies exclusively through a local bookstore here in Houston, and y'all sold them out again. So thank you. I had to go back to the bookstore and sign a whole new stack of copies because you guys keep buying them. So I appreciate you. Thank you very much. This email never works. You said, do you enjoy working remotely or within an office? I prefer working remotely, but I have done that for so long now that I do miss some aspects of being in an office and having a team around me. It can get monotonous and a little bit lonely working, by yourself at home all day. Thankfully, my wife also works remote, so we're functionally coworkers. We, work in separate bedrooms during the day, so that makes it a lot nicer. If she wasn't home with me, I'm sure I would really be itching for having some more people around, because you can only sit and quietly write conversations between characters in your own head by yourself for so long. It'll eventually drive you nuts, but that just makes for better stories, right? Real name is Mary, says Keyshawn. Okay. I will probably forget that as well, but I will try to remember it. Is it Mary or Mari? Oh, Lolo, you're thinking about writing? Well, hey, welcome in. We do AMAs here on Mondays. Wednesdays, we read I ask you guys to bring me your favorite books, and I'll read the opening lines live on stream and then talk about them from an author's perspective, break down the technical aspects of the writing. And on Fridays, we make fantasy maps. So please feel free to join for any of those. And anytime I'm live, if you have questions about writing, please do ask. I'm always happy to answer. I love to do it. That's what I'm here to do. So welcome in. Fat Frog, what's been my hardest character to write? Hardest character to write? Oh boy. That's a good question. I'm not entirely sure. I guess Senecio from The Far Wild. So let's pull that cover up. There we go. This guy right here in The Far Wild. He's very flamboyant, very egotistical, overly confident, but fun, bombastic. He's just very much a showman, and it takes a lot to think about writing him. It takes a while. He's very fun. I love writing him. but takes a lot of effort. I don't know if it's hard so much as like I understand how to do it. It just takes a while kind of to prep. Because he's always got to say something clever and multifaceted whenever he's on page. Takes a little bit of work, but I dig it. It's a lot of fun. Ash, what's my most popular book? Good question. So, my first book down here remains my bestseller, Warden. That is a complete lit RPG science fiction trilogy. But Wriggly Little Hands, this comedy fantasy about a family of goblins on a quest to save the Dark Lord, is quickly catching up to it. Maybe by end of the year? That's a bit ambitious. If the pace continues, it will surpass Warden, but I think this one is solidly my second best. Potential could become my first bestseller, especially because I'm working on the sequel, and that might give it a boost. Who is that? Who asked about the coffee? I love talking about coffee. Where was it? 4-6, my man. Good morning. The bean juice is, I needed more sugar in it today. It's all right. It's a little bit too bitter for me. I do it black with sugar most days, but that means when you don't put enough sugar in, it's pretty rough. So it's all right. It's all right. How about you, my friend? Got a good hot cup of coffee? Cup of joe? 4-6, you're correct. Paragon is an ebook only series. This Email Never Works was Wrigley marketed different than my other books. Yeah, I tried some new things, both with Wrigley and Servant of Rage. I tried to pivot to a strategy where we spend more time on each launch and try to make them bigger, get more hype going. And I don't think it worked out. I don't think it was worth it. I'm not sure where that leaves me. I'll have to think about it. But I think the old advice and that the old self-publishing advice holds true, which is the best thing you can do is write the next book. Honestly, it's true for traditional publishing as well. Writing the next book is the best marketing. I think that's the case. Ash, you're definitely going to put the books on your Goodread app. You've been getting into more books recently. Well, thank you. I hope you enjoy them. If you're interested, what do you typically read, Ash? I can give you a recommendation for which one to start with if you'd like. HKG FR, he said, I'm writing a few stories and they all have the same supernatural vibe. Is that bad? No, not bad at all. That might just be what you find creatively interesting. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, if you're talking from a writing to sell standpoint, building brand coherence, it would be better to write a bunch of books in the same genre, same feel. Don't be like me. Lesson I've learned. Almost all of these books are in different genres. I mean, yeah, lit RPG down here, but sci-fi lit RPG, fantasy lit RPG, post-apocalyptic lit RPG, and then fantasy here, but like dark, heavy, intense fantasy, light Terry Pratchett-esque comedy fantasy, and like thriller fantasy there. It's too scattered. I tried to do too many different things because I was just following my creative interests. It would have been better for me as an author to do more in the same genre. So, something I've learned. Nothing wrong with, having the same vibes in a lot of your books. Go for it, HKG. If that's what you're creatively interested in, ride that high, baby. 4-6, just water this morning. All right. Unex said hello. What's good? Coffee's pretty good. It's a beautiful day outside. Fall is only a month away. Maybe 2 months here in Houston. We'll get there eventually. And I'm rested and ready to write. Right. So there's a lot going on that's good today. How about you, my friend? Welcome in, Unex. 4-6, you're asking in advance. Add a fishing dock to the next map. You know it, man. They're in every one thanks to you. We'll keep doing it. Ash, you've been reading a Kotar lately. Okay. Rock on, man. That's a Kotar's popular for a reason. You love romantasy or just fantasy? So if you love romantasy or just fantasy, this one's going to have the darker vibes for you that you might find in a Kotar. No romance in any of them, but darker vibes here. If you wanted something more silly, Wrigley is a good bet. Links for those are in my bio. Feel free to check them out. They are available wherever books are sold, in whatever format you want. Adelmo, welcome in. Good to see you again. Happy Monday to you, my friend. How you been? Did you have a good weekend? Fat Frog, you said we're deep in autumn here in South England. Oh, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. That hurts my soul. Y'all, I love autumn. I love autumn so much. And it's wonderful here in Houston once fall hits, but boy, does it hit late November half the time. Yeah, it pains me. I miss Boston. I miss fall sometimes. Okay. Gonna move on from that emotional damage. Jack Ann, you said, do you ever find yourself writing previous characters' characteristics into a new project? Yeah, sometimes that slips in, but once I recognize it, I'm able to pivot away from it. And I've not had too much trouble with it, honestly. I really had I think a pretty easy time making my characters very different. I've rotated through a couple strategies. One is I'll literally build them a character sheet like it's D&D and help that be a guide light for their character and characteristics. Or another one I've done is I've picked like actors that I think behave similar to the character, and I'll use that as inspiration. So I'll go watch interviews and stuff with them to get inspiration for the characters. Those are two quick ways that I've used to really distinguish characters. I also try to always make them different from past characters, so I'm always looking for a new challenge in each character. Main characters, at least. Side characters don't get fleshed out quite that much. Right, it scrolled out of view. Here we go. Tomato Boy Cosplay. Hey, welcome in, by the way. Oh, sorry. Let me do Stug. Stug4 said, do you write historical fiction? I do not. I like to read it, but it's a lot of research to write. I do fantasy, mainly. Tomato Boy Cosplay. If I should start a book, should I create characters or storyline first? It's up to you. It's whatever you find most interesting, I think. I don't think either has to be created first. Do what you're most excited about. I think that's good advice to follow when you're early on. Patrick D. Stearman says, hey, Alex, I have a question. How do I deal with being tired after my 8-to-5 job but wanting to write? It's a struggle, my guy. It is a struggle. When I was working my office job, I would, 4 nights a week, thereabouts, drive home, change, pick up Wendy's spicy nuggets on the way to the library, eat them while driving, and then write at the library for like 4 or 5 hours a night. It was just like what I wanted to do most, Monday to Thursday. I took Fridays off. Friday, we got to hang out with the boys. But it's tough when you're tired after work. I've been there. Try to set aside time, maybe like 2 weeknights a week and a weekend day or night, and try to write on those days and try to manage your energy levels before and after those days so that you can come into them feeling refreshed. Like if say you're going to write on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, try to make sure that on Monday and Wednesday nights you're not like pushing yourself or staying up late. You're getting good rest. You're getting ready for it. Treat it, like an event, like a meeting you have to be at, I think. It's just hard though, if you're working an 8-to-5, it's taking the majority of your time. It is hard to do both. Ash, do I ship internationally? My books are available on Amazon and Audible, and most bookstores will carry them if you can, or if they have an order through their website option, you can find them through most bookstores. Those do ship internationally, or they might just be a bookstore in your country that sells them. Samuel, you said, is it a hard economy in which to find a publisher? I've heard that it's a little tough right now, mainly because I had heard that like publishers had kind of signed a lot of authors recently, picked up a lot of books, and they're a bit overloaded at this point in the year. I'm not that in touch with that side of things, so I'm not certain. I think though that it's always a tough time to get published just because there's so many stories and so many authors these days. But don't let that stop you. Just if it's something you want to do, go for it. There's going to be better and worse times, but better and worse times are just going to be what it's going to be. Don't let it bother you. Fat Frog, you said, do you have any regrets with any books? Like scenes you removed or other directions you wanted to go? Good question. Keyshawn, you said you have to head out. No worries, no worries. Hey, have a great day. Thank you for being here. Fat Frog, do I have any regrets? I mean, I wish certain books had launched bigger or sold more copies. But in terms of like scenes I removed, or other directions, I don't think so. I'm pretty happy with all of them. You know, I like all my books. I'm proud of how they've come out. I'm pretty darn happy with them all. You know, I can't really say I have any regrets, other than I wish that I had written them all in the same genre, because that would be better for me in terms of having consistent sales through my backlist of books. But no, I'm pretty happy. Classic reader, how many hours a day do you work? I work a typical 8-hour day most times. I took last week off, but before that, I was doing an experiment to see how fast I could write a book. And for that, I worked 11 days straight for about 11 or 12 hours a day. That was really bad. I did it for the purposes of the experiment and to push myself. Don't do that. That's way too long to be writing each day. My brain liquefied. But typically I work 7 a.m. to like 4 p.m. with an hour lunch break. So pretty standard. CC, you said, hi. I was wondering the longest time it's taking you to write a book. Ooh, that's a good question, Cece. And hello, by the way. Welcome in. There's a lot of ways to quantify that answer. The longest time that I've actively spent, like, drafting a first draft is probably 6 or 7 months. But it's that long because I started on it, had other work things that came up, and had to put it on pause, and then came back to that book and finished it. Typically, I write a book in about 2 to 3 months is my casual, comfortable pace. But if you want to categorize it by length from written to published, I wrote a book in 2014 that I don't think was properly finished and published until this year. So that could be the longest. So there's a lot of ways to look at it, but sheer writing for just first draft is probably like 7 to 8 months, I think. I mean, I have a book currently that I've rewritten 3 times. That's still not finished, and it's just kind of in the back burner at this point. So that could also be a candidate for longest it's taken me to write a book, because it's still not done. Thanatos, good to see you, my friend. Happy Monday. I hope you had a good weekend. Welcome back, and thank you for joining. Unix, you said, is it bad if my story has too many power types at once? It's about like magic, contracts, gifts. If you're going to do a bunch of different like magic systems or whatnot, try to standardize it into an overarching system so that the different things are branches of it, essentially. I think it could be weird to have like too many different... Typically when you have like magic in a book, you have the magic, right? People might practice it in different ways. To have different systems throughout might be too much. I'm not really sure. I would lean towards keeping it as one overarching system that just manifests or could be used in different ways. But I don't know. I don't know if that's the hard and fast advice. I'm not sure I can give a confident answer there. I think it's going to come down to execution. So if it's something you're interested in, give it a try. Cousin Larry on YT, you're good, my guy. No worries. I am not bothered by it, but good to see you and welcome in, my friend. Samuel, you're very welcome. Oh wow, a lot of questions. Sorry for missing these. I'm taking too long with my answers. Mattis, I think it should be read though. It looks like a Greek character in there. You got a Greek L in there. Is that the destroyed citadel in the background? It is not. People ask that a lot. It's actually the back cover of this book, Wriggly Little Hands. That is the Dark Lord's Tower. It is a very, very light spoof of Saruman's tower from Lord of the Rings, but it's the home of the Dark Lord, which our goblins are on a quest to save the Dark Lord. So we got some art of his tower in the background there. Tomato Boy cosplay. I don't think I would have enough creative freedom if I were to write in Swedish compared to English. Are you Swedish? Is that your native language? Because I feel bad for folks that English isn't their first language, because it's just such a big market for books. Like even in other countries, English books, do well. It's hard to make it as an author, even writing in English. I can't imagine English as a second language trying to do it. Ari, we will be making the map again this Friday. But I've been thinking about doing the map making a little more frequently each week. So I don't know. Stay tuned on that one. Definitely every Friday. Maybe more recent. Maybe more coming up. I'm not sure. We're gonna think about it. But yeah, hey, thank you, Fat Frog. Great mention there. If you go to my YT page, I can't say the website name. The video watching website. I have a profile there. At author Alex Knight, and it has replays of all my streams, and all of the map making are on a playlist, so you can go watch all the past map making streams. Merlin, I cannot give you advice for what cards to play in your Yu-Gi-Oh deck, because I have not made a Yu-Gi-Oh deck in many years. If it was Magic the Gathering, I might be able to help, but I'm a little bit out of date on that format as well. Sharad Ashari over on YT said, do you think there's something known as too much world building? Yeah, definitely. I think folks can get... world building's really fun, right? You can spend too much time there and not writing the story, but you got to consider two things. Are you doing it for fun, or are you writing to sell? If you're writing to sell, then there is such a thing as too much world building, and you probably need to get to writing the story so you can sell the book. If you're just doing it for fun and you're enjoying world building, go for it, man. You're not on any timeline. If you want to keep world building, have fun with it. I know there are folks out there that only do world building, make incredible stuff. If you're just doing it for fun, then it's whatever you want to do. Express your creativity how you want. Tide and Terra, welcome back. Welcome back. This email never works, you said. Do you ever have a game night on Discord? No, we've never done anything like that. I don't know if the community's quite big enough there yet. But hey, shout out if you guys want to join the stream community, want to hang out with these nice folks when stream's over. Check my bio. There's a link to the Discord there. We got 200 something people in there hanging out. It's a great place. We'd love to have you. Mixie said, how do you overcome writer's block? I can never seem to make it past writing chapter 1. So this is a common thing that I see with a lot of folks. The best way to overcome it is to know that your first draft is just you telling yourself the story. It's not final. Everything can change. So just know that as you're writing, what you're creating in the first draft doesn't have to be the final thing. So don't feel like it has to be perfect. You're literally... The first draft is telling yourself the story. The second pass is when you go back and refine it. Maybe you change where the book starts. Maybe you change some characters, etc., etc. So really embrace your first draft and just have fun with it. Allow yourself just to experience the world. Just kind of figure out what's going on. Don't feel the pressure of making it perfect. I think that helps a lot with folks who want to go back and rewrite endlessly. Schism, I have not watched that movie? TV show? I'm not sure what it is. Fat Frog, you like to make encyclopedias for your world building. Oof, that feels like a lot of commitment. How big are they? Encyclopedia is a daunting term, man. I'm thinking like a big 600-page, doorstop of a book. Sharad on YT, do you also critique stories? The Discord, we do a little bit of critique, light stuff, nothing too heavy. We'll give you basic feedback, particularly if you have things that you're wondering with your story. I personally don't do... I will chime in on those from time to time. I try to get to the ones that are posted in there, but in terms of longer critiques, I just don't have time these days. I would really love to, and I used to do it back in the day, but I get so many requests now, it'd be all that I spend my time on. But I think it's important. Something I've noticed in a lot of critique requests are from newer authors who just don't have the confidence with their stories, and I think more important than somebody giving you feedback when you're early on is just you writing the next story and the next story, because that practice is great for developing your creative voice, and that's something you can only find by writing, essentially, by writing more. So I think more valuable than getting critiqued to make sure that a story is good initially is to write more stories, because you're always going to get better as you practice more. And if you want to find the Discord, it's linked in all my bios anywhere that I am online. So just click on there, and you should have a link to it. I can also I'll grab a link for you too, Sharad. I can post it in chat for you. There you go. And I'll see if TikTok censors it or not, but I just posted it in TikTok. I don't know if it'll go through. Ash, you said you added the fantasy books to your Amazon wish list. Well, thank you, Ash. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoy them if you pick one of them up. Thank you very much. Welcome in. Nice to meet you. Slindy, you said, if only I knew how to make video games. Oh, it'd be fun. It's hard work, though. Really hard. Fat Frog, you said your encyclopedias are not big, just relevant bits for the story that helps you remember your own lore. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I do similar stuff to that then too. Just note documents and stuff off to the side. It's a lot to keep track of, right? You're building entire worlds. It's important to remember all that stuff. Yeah, Ash, if you're on TikTok, you can just click into my bio, and the link is in my link tree there. That might be the easier way to grab it. Cool Imp on YT said, writing more is not always better. It does not equate to becoming better. Feedback goes a long way. It does. It can certainly help, but I think you need to be at a certain point to where feedback matters. I see a lot of folks, they have an instinct desire for feedback at a point where they're too early in their career for it to help too much. It's kind of like they get feedback and everybody has their own opinion on how things should be improved, because writing is inherently subjective. It's art. And I think there's always time to improve through feedback later on. Initially, you need to just get the raw words on paper and start to find your own voice in the way in which you want to write. Then you can polish it up with feedback. So it's not that I don't like feedback. It's that you need to be at a certain point before it can really help you. Because I see so often folks getting feedback too early on in their careers, and it just ends up telling them to do all these different things in different ways. And what they need most is just to get practice writing. They have to be at a point where the feedback will help them more. I saw a comment and it scrolled away. There we go. Jake Hartman on YT, welcome back, my friend. Good to see you. How you been? I had some very good vacation time. Thank you for asking. It was a lovely week last week, mostly sleeping, which I really needed because, I truly have been overworking this entire year. I don't recommend it. Don't do it. But I feel good. I'm rested. I'm ready to go. Y'all, I cannot express how excited I am. I have a good 2,000 words a day pace for the rest of this year and into Q1 2026. Churning out the next 3 books. I'm so excited to write them. It's going to be lovely. I'm going to be streaming here with y'all. I'll be writing a chapter a day. And the rest of my time, who knows? We'll see. But it's going to be fun. I'm very, very excited for it. I feel rested. I'm ready to go. How have you been, Jake? I hope it's just as positive. Slindy, you got to go do chores. No worries, my guy. Go knock them out. I'll catch you on Wednesday. We'll see you then, buddy. Ash, you said, how long are your books approximately? I want to read it, but it's so long. Yeah, my books aren't that long. I like to keep them shorter. Wrigley is 87,000 words long, which would be shorter than your standard fantasy novel by about 4 or 5 chapters. I could give page numbers, but it's highly contextual. It depends on the format the book is in: paperback, hardback, font sizes, etc., trim size. So that's why we use words to gauge length. But that's most of my books are shorter. Wrigley's 87,000 words. Servant of Rage is probably 115,000. Far Wild's 110 maybe. So yeah, I keep them on the shorter side of things, and I think really that 90,000 word target is where I'm happy. Fat Frog, you said any hints on what's to come? Oh, I'll flat out tell y'all. It's already planned out. I am doing the sequel to Wriggly Little Hands, so we're getting book 2 in this one. That's next, and then books 2 and 3 in the Blood Rage trilogy. So the sequels to Servant of Rage, in that order, be Wriggly 2, and then Blood Rage 2, and then Blood Rage 3. We're wrapping those series up, so yeah, by the end of the year, Q1 2026, we will have both of those series finished. It's going to be great. At least, all the books that I have signed the rights away to, that I've sold. And then the big question comes. For the first time in 5 years, I will have no books under contract. We got to figure out what we're doing next. We want to sell another book, another trilogy? Do we want to write lit RPG or fantasy? I don't know, y'all. I'll be thinking about it until then. It's going to be exciting. Patty 132400 said, "What are your greatest inspirations?" Terry Pratchett's a big one for me. If you can't tell from the cover of Wriggly Little Hands, it's a very silly book, and I've just had so much fun growing up reading Terry Pratchett books that make me laugh and are generally goofy. That was a big inspiration. But I'm also a big Michael Crichton fan. I love Jurassic Park, the movie, and the book, and the sequel. Many other Michael Crichton books, Congo being a personal standout. I also love Joe Abercrombie. His dark fantasy and his characters are incredible. So those are some of my favorite authors that I've really enjoyed reading. I also like Jonathan Stroud. My guy he's just hitting banger after banger lately. John Bulwark, how do you read books? I'm stuck at the first letter. It's a little bit, I might not be able to help you with that one, man. That's a little bit remedial for me. Fat Frog, you're excited for Wrigley Part 2? Well, thank you. I am too. It's going to be fun. I will be sitting down and working on the plot for that this weekend next. I've got to get that mapped out a little bit, but it's time for the goblins to go on one more adventure, huh? But y'all, hey, thank you for hanging out with me today. Been a fun little stream. Good to get back into it. I know we were off last week, but we're going to be back to a normal schedule. So if you're unfamiliar with the format, I'm author Alex Knight. I'm here Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays mornings, 7 a.m. Central Time. We're always streaming something bookish, fantasy related. If I'm live, I'm always taking questions about publishing, writing, author stuff, anything like that. Please do ask. Like, for instance, Patty said, do you begin writing your books with the end in mind? I do, loosely. I do a very rough outline, a skeleton outline, I call it. And then as I write, I add the meat to that skeleton. So I just like a little general roadmap that gives me a way to go through the story, but allows me to pivot in the moment. Because I've found that my best ideas always come in the moment. That might not be true for you. I always suggest trying to write a story completely by the seat of your pants, no planning. Then try to write a story that you've planned out every detail, and then try to write one that's somewhere in between. You kind of got to do all three to find out what works best for you. Moon, you said, how does one even begin to structure a book? I've been trying to write one for a few years. There's different ways to do it. Like I said, it's really about what makes sense for you, what creative method works for you. I think when you're starting out, you should do what seems most fun to you. I think that fun is important to carry you through the story. So if you are excited to plan it out ahead of time, go for it. If instead you might like the thrill of kind of free-falling, kind of skydiving, how I think of it, if you just throw yourself into a book or a story, not knowing where it's going, it's kind of like skydiving. If that's exciting to you, then give that a try. Try both methods and try something in between. I think that's a good way to experiment, find what works for you. Ash, I hope you come back on Friday for the fantasy map making. It's a ton of fun. It is my favorite stream format. It's just wonderful, especially when I'm being greedy. I love it when people ask me writing questions while I'm working on the map, and I get to just work on the map while talking about writing. Absolutely love it. It's a ton of fun. Oh, interesting, Melissa. Oh yeah, DI 38. There are no requirements for asking questions around here. You don't got to be a writer, a reader, or anything. You ask away, my friend, and I will try to help. Melissa Lee, you said, talk to me about self-editing. What should I be looking for, and in what order, so to speak? Oh yes, Melissa, you just finished your book, right? Your first draft. Congratulations to you. Well done. That is awesome. I'm so proud of you. Great work. If you're looking at the self-editing stage, here's what I would say. Step away from the story for about a week, maybe two if you can bear it. You got to let it settle in your mind. You got to move a little bit away from it so you can come back with fresh eyes. What I always do for my self-editing is I give about a week, preferably 2 weeks. Sometimes that's not possible. Come back and just start reading through it and just try to catch typos. See if anything feels off to you. Basically, you want to distance yourself from the text, then come back and read it with the freshest eyes and mindset possible, and just read through the whole thing and just see how it feels. See if everything works for you, if you have any concerns, and catch typos along the way. I think that's really the best thing you can do with self-editing. When you get to the end, make sure you're happy with how the plots go, how the characters interact, how the dialogue reads. Read the dialogue aloud if you want to double check that it feels organic and like spoken dialogue. That's really it. That's pretty much it for self-editing. I think after that you'd be in a good place. Moon, you said you have characters, world, a lot of details already planned. You're doing a draft right now, so you'll see. All right, hey, good luck. And if you have questions along the way, please bring them here. I'm happy to talk to you. D-Trayan said, hello, how do you name locations, countries, or cities? Naming things has to be the worst. So what I do is I think about the setting in the world of the story. Does it have a real world inspiration? For instance, if we go to this one, The Far Wild, the world that this is inspired by, I was combining Florida, where I grew up, with kind of like Cyprus, kind of Greek Mediterranean vibes to it. So I kept that in mind when naming things. I think that that's an important way to draw. It gives you the structure of words and names and places and whatnot. So that's how I tend to name things. I think about the culture or the place that I'm drawing inspiration from. I look at real life names from those places, and then I create similar ones that sort of relate. That's my guideline for creating names. I'm sure other people do it differently, but I just always lean on what the inspiration is. DI, you said you're new to reading. Is there a way to improve visualization? I guess just kind of linger on the thought, on the description, if you want to improve, making that image in your head. Now, keep in mind, some folks are not visual readers. Some people don't have the image in their head as they read. I know there's several different types of readers, so it might be that you're not naturally a visual reader. If you want to improve it, though, I think just slow down a little bit as you're reading and imagine the scene and the characters in the space based on the details the author gives you. And just linger on those a little bit. I think that's probably a good way to practice it. Yeah, that probably would work. That's a good question, though. I've never been asked that before. Benjamin Larson said, how do you motivate yourself to edit? Reluctantly. I don't like editing very much. It's not as fun as writing, but I know it makes the story better. And I know it makes it easier on my actual editor if I go over the manuscript first. So I always try to clean it up. I write pretty clean copy, so I don't have to do too much editing. Yeah, the way I motivate myself to edit is by knowing I have to do it and just reluctantly sitting down and knocking it out, This email never works. She said, side note, I don't write books. I'm just here for the vibes. Hey, man, more than welcome to have you, just to hang out. No requirements for this stream. Well, there's one requirement. Bring some good vibes with you. That's it. That's anything else, you are welcome to be here. Melissa Lee, your story is due to Writers of the Future on the 30th. You don't have that long to wait. Yeah, okay, so yeah. Give yourself a couple days off from the story and then do your self-edit. But yeah, I guess you got 15 days left. Good luck. Fingers crossed for you. I hope it goes well. I am pulling for you. Babooey, you said, do I have a day job? This is my day job. Not streaming, but writing books. I'm a full-time author. And I guess we can tag this answer into Bruno's question, which is, what type of books do you write? I write fantasy and lit RPG. Fantasy up top, lit RPG down below. You can find them all on Amazon through the links in my bio. They're audiobooks, ebooks, paperbacks, any format you want, basically. But yeah, being an author is my day job. And I just stream on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 a.m. Central Time before I get to writing for the day. Ash, what times do I go live? Yep, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m. Central Time. I will be here. Hope to see you. MBBHE on YT, it's a lot of letters, said, I've been working on the first of a trilogy for several years, but keep getting derailed with work and health issues. Would you recommend taking time to just finish or continue splitting time? How realistic is making a living solely as a writer, especially in one of the most expensive cities to live in? Okay, great question there, MB. First of all, good job on the perseverance. Good job sticking with it. It's not easy, but it is not realistic to make a living off of one book. Like your first book that you sell, even if you sell it to a traditional publisher, you're probably not going to make a living off of it. It's hard to make money in writing. So I think the most important thing is to find a sustainable way to write and maintain your primary source of income, because a lot of debut authors in the traditional publishing landscape and self and small press publishing are still working day jobs. You really have to ramp it up and get several books out that are doing well, or one book that does incredibly well in order to support yourself. So I'm always an advocate for keeping your primary source of income as you begin to write, and make a transition to writing full-time once you've got enough money coming in from it. Or you can see that the money's coming in consistently, and you know that putting more time on it will allow you to ramp that up more. That was very much how I did it. I was ghostwriting full-time, and then I started publishing under my own name, and as my books did better, I ghost wrote less, and I just, it was a scale, right? Just amp up my own writing and amp down ghostwriting as the money was there to do so. I think, and as to your question of should I continue splitting time or take the time to finish it, I think splitting time is a good way to do it. If you want to take like a little vacation and try to finish it, nothing wrong with that, but it's hard to make money in publishing, so I would never advocate for dropping your primary source of income with the plan of finishing a book and selling it. It also just takes a long time. If you want to do traditional publishing, it can take months and months. Honestly, like a realistic timeline, if you got an agent today to represent your book, they're going to probably have you do an edit. That's going to take a couple months of you going back and forth with them to polish the manuscript. Then they will begin submitting your manuscript to publishers, and that can take as little as a week, as much as 5, 6, 7, 8 months. And then once the publisher picks it up, they might want to do another edit. They're going to put together a marketing plan, how they're going to sell it, etc., etc. That can take up to a year from the book being sold to the publisher to actually being published. Traditional publishing moves very slow. If you're going a different route, it'll move faster, but just as a reference for timeline, publishing doesn't move fast, and it takes a while to start making money from it, for sure. Flesh over Chrome, hello, hello. Good to see you, and welcome back, my friend. How you doing? Just catching up on questions here. Oh, Lines and Lore Editorial, a.k.a. Jackann. Welcome back. Gotta balance the accounts. Well, good to see you. Jonas, you said, so I'm not a writer. I tried and failed. Still have some ideas sometimes. Hey, if you're writing, you're a writer, my friend. It's all about what you want to get out of it, right? The only failure is to stop if you still want to do it. If you don't want to do it, then that's fine. That's not failing. You tried something new. You decided it wasn't for you. But if you still want to do it, man, keep going for it. There's no end date on writing, which is the beautiful thing. If you want to keep doing it, you totally can. There's no timelines. Keep going. But welcome in. And if you got any questions, please, happy to help. Thomas D. Carver, author, welcome in, my friend. How you doing? Happy Monday to you. Kebab, you said, or Kebab, do you have a list of books you want to write, or do you just come up with something and start? Okay, so for the last 4 to 5 years, I have had a list that I want to write because I have sold the rights to trilogies or even a 5-book series. So I was contractually obligated to finish those. So that made it easy to know what was next. It was the next thing I was going to write was the next book in the series. But starting in 2026, I'm wrapping up a book 2 next, and then I'm finishing a trilogy after that. Starting in 2026, I'm going to have a clean slate for the first time in a long time, and I'm going to sit down and think about what I want to write next. And that's going to be interesting. For the first time in a long time, I'm not knowing what's coming next. It's going to be, I'm very excited about it. Let's see. Moon, you said a fantasy book has good backstory, hidden meanings. Hidden meanings. I'm so excited to finish it. Rock on, Moon. I love it. Good luck. Rock on with that. Melissa Lee, 15,000 words plus a digital copy. It'll be in the works since I can't send you a physical copy. Well, thank you, Melissa. I appreciate that. Your digital copy can be as simple as a PDF if you want. Don't put too much work into it for me. But yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you. I'm excited to see it. Thomas, you said you're still soaring high from the MCR concert this past Saturday. Dude, my best man was at that concert in Tampa, right? It was Evanescence and My Chemical Romance at Raymond James Stadium, right? That's really funny that you both went to that. I heard it was great, so I'm glad to hear from another source that it was good. Rock on, man. Ash, you love how many authors are in the chat? Yeah, we got a great little community around here. A nice chill stream today. Some days it pops off and it gets really, really big, but today we're just keeping it chill. And there's a lot of good authors here, and I love it. Well, good authors, readers, just good people. It's a good community. I'm really honored to have such a lovely community that's built around this stream. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for being here. MTF Psy 9 says, "Hey, how do I delete a fan favorite character?" I'm not sure what you mean. Like you have an ongoing story and you want to, I'm assuming, kill off a main character, a fan favorite character from it? Is that what you're talking about? Patty, is it easy to see my personal philosophy in the book's world building? It depends. I think early on in an author's career, it's easier to see that. I think as they get more experienced, they're better at writing the world of the book to fit the story. That's largely what drives the world building of my stories, is what is best for the story itself. That's always my primary focus. Obviously, my own values and ideas and whatnot pop up in the stories, but a lot of that is subconscious. A lot of that I don't plan to do, and it just manifests. You also learn a lot about yourself when writing, because those subconscious things pop up, and I'll have readers like comment like, "Wow, you did such a good job depicting this or talking about this. I can totally relate to that." And I was like, "Oh, I wasn't even thinking about that." But yeah, those themes are there, and I didn't plan for them. It's really cool in a way. Oh, Ash, you said, I think your question got lost in all the others earlier. What is lit RPG? Good question, and that does need to be explained once in a while. Also, if I ever miss a question and you're really looking for an answer on it, please do ask again. Sometimes I just miss stuff when the chat's moving. Lit RPG is a newer genre. It's honestly, there's a lot of ways to describe it. People debate what the definition is. I like to think of it as, traditionally, it was books that took place in video games. Ready Player One being a good early example. These days, it has evolved to just mean pretty much a fantasy book where the magic is defined very strictly. There are spells and levels. Think like D&D almost. Imagine you're reading a fantasy book with a D&D system that the characters are aware of existing. Characters literally know, oh, if I do this, this, and this, I will level up and get more power. That's pretty much a good way to describe lit RPG these days. If you want some examples from like my books, these are a little bit older lit RPGs, so they're a little bit, the genre's kind of moved on from these conventions, but like Warden takes place in the near future and has a 2-part storyline about the main character using a video game to track down a conspiracy in the real world. Or a little bit less complex, Rise to Glory, is again near future, where esports have become as popular as Major League sports, and people watch tournaments, and the main characters are semi-pros competing in these tournaments, trying to go pro through winning a very important tournament. It's kind of just like a sports story, but with a video game context, at least for my older stuff. Like I said, Lit RPG has moved beyond that these days. It's a little bit more like fantasy, but with a hard magic system, I would say. Lines and Lore editorial. I don't know if I've heard the new song. It's from Evanescence? I don't think I've heard that. I'll have to look it up. I was a fan of them back in the day. What are my thoughts on an unreliable narrator POV? I love it. I think it's very, very fun. I think narrators that are challenging like that make you think about the story in different ways, are a ton of fun. It's good. I think it's good practice to teach the readers to not always accept what the narrator says as fact. And I think a good unreliable narrator sprinkled in here and there does that. It kind of reminds people like, hey, remember the source. The narrator might be biased in what they're saying. And I think that makes for a fun storytelling element. I've played with it a little bit by having oblivious main characters that will very clearly not pick up on things other characters are hinting at. And I do it as I find it fun when it fits the character, because I think that the readers will pick up on it and then know that the main character didn't and be like, oh my god, you idiot, how are you missing these signs? I think that's a fun interplay to have between reader and main character. MBBHE, you said, what's a good word count / timeline you aim for when writing? So it depends on genre, is really what dictates your word count. When you're an unknown author, a newer author, you don't have a lot of sway with publishers, you need to stick to the genre conventions for length of book. For fantasy, that's generally around 100,000 words. You could be a little bit shorter, you could be a little bit longer, but that's about the target you should aim for. Once you become more well-known, you're allowed to break those rules and write longer or shorter books. But for the most part, when you're starting out, you should stick to genre conventions. I primarily write fantasy, and fantasy is primarily around 100,000 words, so my books are all between 90,000, maybe high 80,000, and like 120,000 words. Hopeless Art says, my biggest problem with writing is that when I read books by my favorite authors, for example, I think it's a 2-part message. Either the second part didn't come in or you're still writing it. Feel free to send that and I can finish your comment. Sung Moon, good to see you. Welcome in. We are towards the end of the stream today, but glad you're stopping by. No race last weekend, Sung Moon. Sad. Excited for next weekend, though. Bert, good morning, my friend. Welcome in. How you been? Melissa, you said having to reduce fantasy from 120,000 words down to 17,000 or less for a short story is criminal. Hey, it's good practice, though. It makes you distill the story to its most important elements. You also just have to have shorter plots and short stories. You can't do the full plot of a fantasy novel in there. That's why I say it's good practice, though. ALA Creation Official says, how can we improve the story of a character? I mean, how to make good backstory. Okay, so that's a great question, by the way. Backstory of a character, I think, should relate to the character's role in the story. So what I would do is I would look at the character's role in the story. Are they a trusted friend? Are they someone who's going to betray the main character? Are they an antagonist? Are they the villain? This role determines what their backstory should be, because their backstory should add to their story in the story. Use backstory as a way to make them more interesting. So what I would say is almost kind of write it in reverse. Go, in this story, they are someone who's, let's say, they appear as a friend to the main character, but they're going to betray them later on. What I would do is I would give their backstory. I would use that to create a reason for why they would betray the main character later in the book. Backstory is really just a way to explain the actions of the character in the plot. It tells you why they are how they are and gives you a point that they used to exist at to explore how they might grow from it or revert back to it. It's basically a starting point, and you build characters out from it. And if you want them to change for the better, you make them grow into a better character. And if you want them to fall back into it, you might have them revert back to how they used to be. But I think those two things are always related. Patty, what age did I start writing full-time? I started ghostwriting full-time at 22, 23 probably. I started writing my own books full-time at 25. So yeah, pretty young, I guess. I still feel like I should have been doing it earlier. Yeah, so 23 then, Patty, for when I quit my full-time job and started working on writing full-time. That was mostly freelance business writing and ghostwriting. And then over those next couple of years, I pivoted into being an author as I built more connections. Sung Moon, I'm glad you're here, though. We'll be doing a normal week this week. So, hey, 7 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 a.m. Central Time. We'll be here. Excited to see you. Dino, good to see you, my friend. Welcome in, welcome in. I hope you're doing well. I missed everybody being off last week. Glad to be back with everyone. Creation Official, that answered your question? Rock on, I'm glad to hear it. Good question, thank you for it. What's the current soundtrack? It is a series of royalty-free songs and one song made by Raffi the Engineer, our Stream member. They produced it just for Stream, so I appreciate that, Raffi. If you go to my bio and my link tree, I have a Spotify playlist of the Stream songs, so you can find them there. I think they're good writing music. Bert, you've been doing well. You're editing your latest story today. It's 3 times longer than the other ones. Oh boy, you're expanding out. Rock on, man. Rock on. You're very prolific. I appreciate that. MBBHE, I'm going to do these last 2 questions, y'all, then I got to wrap it up. But great questions today. Thank you, everybody. MBBHE, you said, do you think someone can still get into ghostwriting, especially with AI today? Oh, absolutely. I don't think AI is taking any author work these days. It's not good enough yet. Maybe it will be one day, but it can't do long-form books. It can't do them meaningfully, and it doesn't understand the point of what people are trying to achieve through writing. It just mimics what it's already seen. I think you could still get into ghostwriting. It's a hard industry to crack into. It takes a while, but I think it can be done. Now, you might not have your pick of genre. I had to go into romance for ghostwriting, just because it was what was needed the most. I didn't really have a lot of interest in writing it, but the opportunities were there, so I was like, all right, I better get big about romance. And that's, it was my entry point. And once I did enough work ghostwriting romance, I was able to then start pulling down sci-fi fantasy books for ghostwriting. So really just look for the opportunities, be persistent, and jump on them when you can. Dino, you said, what's a type of character I don't like? I don't know if there are many characters I don't like. I guess the only character I don't like is one who doesn't have good motivation for what they do. I want the character to have good reason for what they do, and I think any well-written character does. I think that's pretty much the only rule, really, that I would impose. No, Sung Moon, not a silly question at all. Ghostwriting. Ghostwriting is when a publisher hires an author to write a book for them, or a novella, and that author is not going to put their name on it. The publisher might put a made-up name on it, or they might put someone else's name on it. Good way to think about it is like a lot of celebrity books. When celebrities have their memoir, their autobiography, or just a book that they write, most of those are ghostwritten. Most celebrities aren't sitting down and writing that. They're hiring a ghostwriter. So that's kind of what ghostwriters do. They write and they don't get credit for the book. They just get paid for it. So yeah. All right, last question here. This email never works says, most important question of the day. What's for lunch? Lunch today is going to be kimchi ramen with mushrooms and green onion and 1 soft-boiled egg. I've already got it ready to go. And I got a couple hours till I get to eat it, but I'm pretty excited about that. I've been on a huge ramen kick lately with chopping up and washing some fresh green onions and white mushrooms and throwing them in there. I love it. And I've got some kimchi ramen or ramyun because it's Korean in the cabinet that I've just been absolutely in love with. So it's gonna be a good lunch. I'm ready to go. Y'all, thank you for hanging out with me today. Thank you for the nice welcome back. I was off last week, and now we're back at it. It feels right. It feels normal. So thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the great questions. I hope I helped today. Keep in mind, I will be back Wednesday, 7 a.m. Central Time. Bring your favorite book. Mention it to me on stream, and we will read the opening lines, and I will give you an author's perspective on them. We'll break them down from a technical standpoint and talk about them. So, as always, folks, a special thanks to Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com for the use of his songs Farm, Manor, Cottages, and Northern Glade, which he provided our background music today. And an extra special thank you to community member Raffi the Engineer, who produced our 5th background song, Midnight at the Round Table. I appreciate you, Raffi. Thank you, my friend. Of course, a shout out to my excellent moderators, Melissa Lee 28, Raffi the Engineer, One Happy Harpy, Simp1X, other name wasn't available, aka Slendy, Leisha T, and Aaron Winnick. I appreciate y'all keeping the vibes going. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you very much, everybody. Lastly, if you've enjoyed the stream today, please give me a follow so I can see you for the next one, folks. That's going to be Wednesday at 7 a.m. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to see you there. And until then, if you want to hang out with this community more, please check the link in my bio, or here, I'll post it right here. Come join us on Discord. We'd love to have you. Until then, everybody, have a wonderful Monday. Let's start this week off right, and rock on. I'll see you Wednesday. Have a good one, everybody. Be excellent to each other. Peace out.